It is 3 in the morning. You are lying in bed. Your eyes are open. Your mind will not stop moving. And you feel like something is wrong with you. But the real answer is far stranger. You are not broken. You are remembering something your body has never forgotten. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night was not a disorder. It was Tuesday. Your ancestors did not sleep the way you sleep. You have been taught that a normal night is 8 hours, unbroken, lights off until morning. That idea is new. It is barely 200 years old. For almost all of human existence, the night looked completely different, and your body still remembers the old pattern even though your calendar does not. The historian A. Roger Eckerch spent years digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from before the Industrial Age. He found something strange repeated again and again. People wrote about a first sleep and a second sleep. They would sleep for a few hours after dark, wake naturally in the middle of the night, stay awake for an hour or two, and then fall back asleep until morning. This waking period was not seen as insomnia. It was normal. People used it to pray, to talk quietly with a partner, to think, or simply to lie there in the dark. Why did this pattern disappear? Ask yourself when the last time was that you experienced true, uninterrupted darkness. The answer is light. Artificial light changed everything. Before gas lamps and electric bulbs, night meant darkness, real darkness, the kind where you could not read or work once the sun went down. Households would settle in shortly after dusk, drift into that first sleep, then wake in the deep hours of the night when the body had already had enough rest to surface for a while. Then a second sleep would carry them to morning. Once artificial light spread through cities and homes, the night stopped being empty. People stayed up later, packed more into the evening, and pushed sleep into one solid block to make room for it. Within a few generations, the old two-part pattern faded from memory. It did not disappear because it was unhealthy. It disappeared because it no longer fit the schedule of a lit-up world. But here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Your biology did not get the memo. In the 1990s, sleep researcher Thomas Ware ran an experiment that quietly confirmed what Eckerch found in old letters and legal documents. Ware placed a group of volunteers in a setting with 14 hours of darkness a night, roughly what a household would have experienced before electric light. No clocks, no artificial light in the evening, just darkness, for weeks. At first, the volunteers slept in long, exhausted stretches, paying off a debt they did not know they carried. But after a few weeks, something changed. Their sleep split into two distinct phases. They would sleep for a few hours, wake calm and alert for an hour or two in the middle of the night, and then fall back into a second stretch of sleep until morning. Their bodies, with no cultural pressure telling them otherwise, drifted right back into the exact pattern Eckerch had found buried in centuries-old diaries. That is not a coincidence. That is a body returning to its default setting the moment modern light stops interfering with it. So when you wake up at 3 in the morning and your mind starts turning, you're not failing at sleep. You may be doing something closer to what your body was built to do in the first place. This does not mean modern insomnia is harmless, or that everyone waking at night is simply reconnecting with an ancient rhythm. Stress, screens, and irregular schedules can absolutely disrupt sleep in ways that hurt you. But it does mean the panic many people feel the moment they wake up at night, the fear that something is deeply wrong with them, is often misplaced. Your ancestors expected this. They built quiet rituals around it instead of fighting it. There's a deeper piece to this puzzle, and it involves light in a different sense, the light inside your own skull. Sleep researcher Charles Czeisler has spent decades studying circadian rhythms, the internal clock that governs when your body wants to be alert and when it wants to rest. His research helped show how sensitive that clock is to even small amounts of light exposure, especially at night. A single bright screen a few inches from your face late in the evening can convince your brain that morning has already arrived, delaying the release of melatonin and pushing your natural wind-down phase later and later. Think about what that means. Your ancestors' biggest light source after dark was a small fire or a single candle, dim, flickering, and warm in color. Your biggest light source after dark is a screen shaped like a small sun, aimed directly at your eyes for hours at a time. You're not just changing what you do at night, you're changing what your brain believes about what time of day it is. This is where the ancient pattern and the modern problem collide. Segmented sleep on its own was not the enemy of rest. It was simply how sleep unfolded in a dark world. What breaks modern insomnia is not waking up at night. It's the mix of stress, screens, and irregular schedules layered on top of a body that still expects long stretches of true darkness and a quiet mind during that middle-of-the-night gap. So what did ancient humans actually do when they couldn't sleep? In most cases, they were not fighting insomnia at all. They were living inside a normal, expected rhythm, one where waking briefly in the dark was simply part of the night, not a symptom to be treated. They used that quiet hour for reflection, conversation, or rest without urgency, because no one had told them it was supposed to be otherwise. You, on the other hand, wake up at 3 in the morning and immediately reach for your phone, check the time, calculate how many hours of sleep you have left, and spiral into anxiety about tomorrow. The waking itself is not new, the panic around it is. Here's a small, practical mirror of everything you just learned. The next time you wake in the night and your mind will not settle, resist the urge to check the time or the screen. Let your eyes stay in the dark. Let your thoughts move slowly, without judgment, the way a candle-lit mind once did centuries ago. You may find that the second sleep still exists somewhere inside you, waiting for the chance to return. It's 3 in the morning. You're lying in bed. Your eyes are open. But the real answer is not far stranger anymore. It's simply far older than you thought. And it was never broken to begin with.